The next question I have for you is, were there perceptions, and if there were perceptions of you and your you going through your mental health struggles and your treatment, what how did you handle those perceptions?
They talk about that a lot, or that's kind of like a stigma. Honestly, I can't really think of any. I can't really think of anything that perception I received from going to mental health. It was mostly positive. Actually, basically all positive. I can't think of any negative. Anytime anybody said anything negative to me about going to mental health, um, and wisely so, because I probably would have gone off on them. But yeah, no, everyone was positive about going to mental health, and I think that's how it should be. I was always telling my troops they should go if they need it, telling my friends they should go if they need it, and it should be a positive thing. There's definitely some negative stuff that can happen because if you go to mental health, but I would say mostly that everybody was positive. Um, there is some negative stuff that happens if you go to mental health, like with your career. Um, I mean, way down the line, you could think of promotions, you could think of awards, time away from work. It's definitely going to affect you, EPRs. But just the general going to mental health, was there any like, I don't know, negativity? No, everyone that made comments was positive. I think the main thing that I noticed going to mental health was that people would be more afraid to talk to me. Because I think they were scared. They didn't know what to say. So they'd be more afraid to talk to me. They would be more standoffish because they didn't want to say the wrong thing. So you do kind of feel alone at work. And that does suck sometimes because everyone looks at you like you're fragile. And even though you're going through something, but sometimes you need people just to talk to you. That's how you feel better. And luckily, Senior Bostic at the time, now Chief Bostic, he saw me cleaning floors and being basically the janitor for the 791st. And he didn't like that. And neither did I. So and this is after I came back the first time and I was like awaiting my retrain. Chief Bostic pulled me to stand eval and made me useful. So I think that's what people should do. You should reach out to people. You should try to talk to them. Don't be awkward around them. Talk to them like they're a normal person. Talk to them about anything. It doesn't even have to be about mental health. But if you make people feel alone and secluded or weird because they're going through something, whether it's about you, most of the time it's not about because they went to mental health. It's because you don't want to say the wrong thing. But by doing that, by not talking to them, by not speaking to them like you normally would before they went, it makes you feel really alone. So some advice is talk to them normal, laugh with them, make dark humor, make dark jokes like we always do, mess with them, ask them how they're doing. You don't even have to make it weird. Just talk to them normal like you would anybody else. Don't treat them any differently.
Yeah, I mean, like you have to talk to people like they're a human being. Kind of like what you said. You don't necessarily have to talk to them about what they're going through, but you can talk to them about anything. That might take their mind off of what they're going through, even for just a few minutes. Might mean a big difference to them. So, in the last 2 months, the career field has seen 3 suicides, 1 officer, and 2 enlisted members. Um, that's a lot, and it hasn't really changed over the last couple of years. Uh, so, I guess that leads to my final question. Uh, if you had some advice to give to somebody who might be going through a mental health battle, um, what advice would you give them?
I think the first thing you need to do as a person if you're going through something mental health is accept the fact that you have something going on. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you weird. It's not small. Even if it's smaller than what you think it is compared to other people's trauma or what they've gone through, it still matters to you. It's important to you. It's bothering you. And if you keep telling yourself that it's nothing, that it's going to go away, it's likely not. There's some stuff that we can't control that affects us mentally, affects our brain, changes how our brain operates, how our brain thinks. And the longer you go without getting the help you need, the worse it could potentially get. So if you're afraid, you need to go. You need to get that help. I would hate for some of you to end up like me. Although I did have a good career. I mean, I made it 12 years, but some of you could cut your career short when you don't want to. And it's not all about your career, honestly. Like, I'm glad to be alive. Like I said before, I'd rather be alive and be Dakota and not anything with the Air Force than made it 12 years. I do wish I would have gone sooner. I would tell you that your life is more important than your career. It always is, no matter how you put it. I know you're telling yourself, like, no, I can't. I have kids. I have a wife. I have a husband. Everyone expects a lot of me. I can't go. What are people going to say? What am I going to do if I'm not in the Air Force anymore? I'm telling you right now, that shit doesn't matter. If you're not alive, what does it matter? You need to be alive in order for any of that stuff to matter. So going to mental health, think about yourself first. Think about getting healthy mentally. Think about staying alive. Even if it's small, it doesn't even have to be on the extreme level of suicide. It could be small as you just have anxiety at work. But you need to take care of that stuff while it's small, or it's going to grow bigger. But that's what's important. It's important to take care of yourself. I know people say all the time, but if you had like a physical injury, you wouldn't even think twice about going to the clinic and getting checked out if you had a broken ankle. You know what I mean? I know it's cliche to say and everyone says it, but honestly, it makes perfect sense. Like, if you have something mental health going on wrong, it's not embarrassing. It doesn't make you weak. You should go to mental health. You should get the help you need, regardless of the circumstances or the risk that might happen or what you might lose. Because the risk should come second, your life should come first. And if you ultimately, like say you go to mental health and you lose your career, okay, that sucks. I get it. I've been there. But you're alive. You have time to start a new career. You have time to have children. Be there for your children if you already have them. Possibly get married. Be there for your parents. See grandkids. See the world, places you haven't ever seen. If you worry too much about your career and the stuff that you might lose, then you could lose your life and you ain't gonna see none of that stuff. And I would just tell you, please go to mental health. If you're not going to mental health, you really should see a professional, because they can do so many things for you. Give you medication. If you're not into medication, then therapy is, I can't even put into words how valuable therapy is, especially if you have a good therapist. I said earlier that 2 people saved my life. The third one being, I forgot to mention my third one was my therapist. His name was Thomas. Thomas definitely saved my life. I was going to therapy 5 days a week for 3 hours a day. Now that's some therapy. And I don't want you to get to the point where you have to go to therapy 5 days a week for 3 hours a day. And the reason I got to that point is because I let it build up, I let it fester. So go to therapy. If you don't like your therapist, request a new therapist. If y'all don't get along, get a new one. Keep going back. I know it can be hard making those appointments. Keep calling, make those appointments. Make sure you're talking to your friends and family about what you're going through. And if you want, you can always contact me. I know what you're going through. You might not know me. You might not be my troop. You might not be someone that I was friends with in the military. But you can always contact me. I'll be there for you. We might have different stories, but I know what you're going through. That stuff sucks. It sucks when you feel like you're alone and you don't got anybody to be there for you and help you through it. I'll help you through it. I'll tell you what you need to do. I'll tell you what you don't want to hear, if that's what you need. But yeah, mental health's not a bad thing. Going to mental health is not bad. Yes, it can have some negative side effects, but all that stuff is secondary to your life. But that's what I have to say. That's my best advice I can give you. Stay alive.
Thanks for that advice, Dakota. Anybody going through mental health struggles, hopefully they're going to take your advice and get the help they need. It's really hard to have that conversation, especially if you don't want to go get help, but you have to, because you are worth more than your career. You can't do anything in your career if you know you burn out and your mental health is at zero. Dakota, I'm really glad you came on today to talk to us and give us your story on what you went through. At the Whole Airman Development Group, we're striving to mentor and give the airmen, Big A, the tools they need to become better airmen and better people, both personally and professionally. If there's any topics you'd like to hear, please put it in the comments or direct message us. We love hearing from you guys, so keep the feedback coming as well. From the Whole Airman Development Group, we'd like to thank you for watching today, and we'll see you next time.